Hello and welcome back to another Shadowlands beta video. Today we are going to look at a couple different professions in the Shadowlands and how I think you will be making gold with them. In this video I will go over the crafting and processing professions like Alchemy, Inscription, Blacksmithing and so on, and we'll see what new things they have to offer in the Shadowlands. So let's just jump right into it. First off, we'll take a look at Alchemy. As an alchemist you can start making gold pretty much from the start. You will learn to craft spiritual healing potions and spiritual mana potions from the get-go, and you will learn to craft embalmer's oil and shadow core oil once you get to 10 skills in Shadowlands Alchemy. These oils will be a consistent moneymaker throughout the entire expansion. You will also be making some ground pigments of certain flowers, which can be used by other professions as a crafting reagent, but I would imagine the profit margin on those is fairly small. Once you get to 30 skills, you can start crafting the Potion of the Hidden Spirit, which gives 18 seconds of stealth, which will most likely be used in Mythic Plus, so that's another consistent gold maker throughout the expansion. From there you will also learn tons of other potions enhancing your combat in one way or another, which is also obviously a good gold making strategy. Plus you will learn to create flasks. Once you hit 165 skill in Alchemy, you can also start crafting Shadowghast ingots, and the profit margin on that craft will entirely depend on whether or not it has a cooldown on crafting it. I would prefer a cooldown on it to make it a less mass-produced item, but we'll have to wait and see. Next up we have Inscription. At 10 skills of Inscription you can start crafting an item that lets you open locks that require up to 625 lockpicking skills to open, which could make you some gold. At 15 skills you will start crafting the Tome of the Still Mind, which lets people adjust their talents. Once you hit 40 skills of Inscription you can start crafting missives of critical strikes, haste, mastery and versatility, which is an optional crafting reagent people can slot in when crafting gear to determine the stat outcome of that crafted gear, and I think these missives could give us a great flipping opportunity throughout the expansion. Buy cheap or craft them and sell them expensive. Once you hit 80 skills of Inscription, you can start crafting the Dark Moon cards as well, and these have always been fairly expensive at the beginning of each expansion, and people make absolute bank on these. But if you're going to go this route, be prepared to spend hours in the main city, advertising your offers, and spend a lot of time on the auction house cancelling and refreshing auctions, as you have to constantly outplay your competitors in the market. Once you get to 60 skill in Inscription and revert reputation with a Shadowlands faction, you can also get a recipe from that faction's quartermaster, teaching you to craft contracts, which lets other players gain extra reputation with that faction when completing world quests, if they use that contract. These contracts are usually another big moneymaker for scribes, especially if you do everything you can to get the revert before any other scribes. Basically, you want to be the first one selling these. This involves doing every single activity you can for reputation, including Battle Pet, World Quests, and anything else giving reputation. Next up is Blacksmithing. For Blacksmithing you have Laced Skeleton Key, which you can craft at 15 blacksmithing skills. This is a key that lets you open locks that require up to 600 lockpicking skill, and the key is consumed when used. Once you get to 50 skills, you can start crafting sharpening stones and weight stones, which will be used by raiders, PvPers, and people doing Mythic Plus. It might even be used by casuals, who knows. The point is, this is a consumable increasing your DPS, and will give you a steady gold income throughout the expansion. Blacksmiths can also create Shadowghast ingots. Blacksmiths can also create level 60 armor, but how useful those will be will completely depend on how good other items will be. I think it was back in Cataclysm that people actually had to buy crafted gear to get enough item level to queue for heroic dungeons, so we could see something like that happening again, but I doubt it. Leatherworking is another profession fairly similar to blacksmithing, as you mostly create armor. Leatherworkers can however create drums, but drums have been nerfed even further, as Blizzard really wants to push this agenda of including all classes in a raid and dungeon setup, so class bonuses are supposed to be class bonuses. For example, if you want plus 5% intellect, then you bring a mage. If you want 5% attack power, you bring a warrior. That is what Blizzard said on the subject. However, Leatherworkers has an interesting item in the Shadowlands, which is the leather armor kits, and these have a timer, so they are basically temporary buffs. They do, however, at least as of right now, only give stamina, so I'm not really sure exactly how much in demand these will be, but it's an interesting system, and there could be some better armor kits coming in a future patch. Now I'm going to quickly mention tailoring as well, but it really seems unfinished on the beta right now, as there's basically nothing for it. You can create some green items and some blue items, you can obtain the crafter's mark, and that's it. I'm still going to pick tailoring on my AoE farming character because of the extra cloth passive you get from tailoring, but aside from that, I don't really see the value in crafting anything. Maybe if I get a ton of cloth, there could be some cloth bracer disenchant shuffle meta, again like there was in BFA, but we'll have to wait and see. Jewelcrafting is pretty much the same as always, and you can create gems, you can make rings and amulets. You can prospect ore and find gems by doing that, and I think there could be some gold making potential there, but that will depend on how many people are doing it, and the demand for gems. And engineers can make scopes, and enchanters can make enchants. No really, that is all I have to say about engineers and enchanters. I really can't find anything exciting to say about those two professions, and they really are the same as always. I guess one thing I can say is that engineers can make a headpiece to increase their engineering skill by 20, which is similar to what they could in BFA, and then they could find some hidden reagents in a dungeon to create a mount, and they could do something similar in Shadowlands as well. Keep in mind all of this is in beta, and professions can still change. They can remove things, and they can add things, and some things may not be finalized as of right now, as they have a lot of other things to fix first that may have a higher priority. That being said, many of the professions have gotten a fairly huge rework, and I'm really excited for goldmaking in Shadowlands, and professions like Alchemy, Blacksmithing and Inscriptions looks really appealing to me both for long-term goldmaking and for initial goldmaking as well. I might end up picking Alchemy and Inscription on my main character, grind reputation super fast, then sell contracts and Dark Moon cards early in the expansion, and then sell missives for a constant gold throughout the expansion, while also selling potions, flasks and oils I make with alchemy. And my druid will have herbalism and mining so I can be self-sufficient at the same time. Either way, that is it for this video guys. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like, and if you want to see more Shadowlands beta videos, you can click on the video on the screen right now to see my herbalism and mining early look in beta. Alternatively, you can click on the other video to see some ways to make gold in BFA, to prepare yourself for Shadowlands. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.